object basically arranged or made by human being. That's when I talk when I mean a human man-made complex object. You can discover if it's not yours, if it's discovered in the nature, you can claim it's your objects. If you arrange them and make them as in a complex, that I call this man-made complex objects. So in this regard, one of question I want you to answer is, if you have, imagine that, it's not an hour. Imagine that I give you 2 billion years. Do you think that is reasonable to think that the wind will push the sand around, and after 1 billion years or 10 billion years or 14 billion years, that whatever the combination of sand that you get, without any exception, every one of them will be more complex than laptop, desktop, will be more complex than spaceship and any man-made objects? Will that be possible in this case? So, and I think that's, in this case, so I want you to really, with this question and with other scenarios, try to really, in this case, tell me how you will, reason on what you observe, and based on the available options that we discuss, what will be your conclusion about the source of the event that I described.
Well, to answer your question directly, which I think is this, would wind and sand alone produce these complex objects that you're talking about with sufficient time? Several billion years, for example. The answer is, I don't want to say that anything is impossible. The only things that are impossible are logical impossibilities, like a square triangle that we mentioned earlier, and there are other examples of that. But when we're talking about what's true about reality, not what's true about logic, I don't want to say that anything is impossible. But no, I don't regard the idea that wind and sand alone could produce these complex objects as very likely at all. In fact, I think it's extremely, extremely unlikely. I can't imagine that it would happen. Why do I say that? Because we don't have any evidence that it's ever happened like that. The very complex objects that we see on the Earth, in other words, life itself, required a lot more components and a lot more time than what you're hypothesizing in your example. It's not just wind and sand. It's certain kinds of molecules, certain elements, certain kinds of energy, and 1 billion years to go from no life on Earth to life on Earth. Wind and sand, I can't imagine that wind and sand would be able to do that. I mean, wind is just a very minimal type of energy, and sand is just a minimal type of substance. That they're just not the right kind of things to produce complex objects through natural processes. So that's what I would say.
So in that case, so if you eliminate this, and it seems like even if you have billions of years, you don't think that could be the product of natural cause, which made of wind and sand alone.
That's correct.
Yeah. So now, so we eliminate natural cause. We eliminate other, possible options like illusion, dream, illusion, hoax. We eliminate them. Absolutely, we eliminate them. Now, question we have, whether this is the product of, I will say, chance, or intelligent being. It seems like we don't have any other option left, because we eliminate all other options that you mentioned, you know, and the only thing left is basically either this is a chance or this is the work of an intelligent being. What would you think? And not only that, you know, what would you do really once, if you truly experience something like this? What would you do really? Would you just say, you know, yeah, maybe an intelligent being, an alien, whatever, is doing something like this to us, but let's enjoy our time. We don't even need to think about it. Let's just go and eat those fruit. And then we go and eat and actually enjoy it, and after an hour, we and everything with us are destroyed as well. But now the cycle continue. Now every time we come into existence and observe this elegant event, the chains of events, we just go and enjoy it and say, you know, I don't really care. You know, it's a good time. Let's have a fun. Will that be the way that you will try to really deal with this experience, or will you really try to, you know, try to sit down and truly examine the options and try to really understand the source of the event? And once you understand, what will be the level of your certainty, and what would you do once you reach that certainty among the possible options?
Well, once again, I've already told you that chance is the least likely of all the hypotheses that we've considered, but you keep bringing it up. I don't know why you keep bringing it up. You compare it to the intelligent causation hypothesis, but the two are not on the same level. Yes, I would consider the intelligent causation hypothesis is more likely than the chance hypothesis, but I wouldn't consider it more likely than the others that we've mentioned. But you're wanting to cross those off. So what you're pretty much doing is just saying, let's agree that in my example we will both conclude that these objects were produced by some kind of intelligent cause, and that's fine. We can do that in a hypothetical example. Would we eat and drink? You bet we would. If food were produced for us by whatever process, it doesn't matter what the process was, we would eat the food, because you've already said we're running out of food. If we don't have food, we're going to die. I don't think we would want to die. Not at that point. We would want to complete our mission and get back to Earth if we could. So we would eat and drink. You bet we would. We would wonder, and we would ask questions. We'd want to investigate the cause of all these happenings that were going on around us. Yeah, who wouldn't?